Hello and welcome to Peggy's Plants, coming to you from Central Florida. If you're a plant collector, there's a good chance you own an Anthurium or have at least considered one. I mean, what other plants give you these beautiful patterns on these leaves, nice textured, big, exaggerated, elongated leaves? I love so much about them. What's not to love? Well, in my book, there's plenty not to love. These plants can be divas, and I was very intimidated by them. So today I'm going to share with you my Anthurium Magnificum, which was one of my first Anthuriums. And here she is in all of her beauty. Yeah. This is what my Anthurium Magnificum looked like after I had it about a month. Now, I imported this plant. I don't remember which company I received it from. I purchased it, and it's not unusual when plants are imported when you're trying to acclimate them for the leaves to die off. So that is exactly what happened here, but it really didn't have much in terms of a root system. But after a month in Leca, it has sprouted a growth point. So I'm excited. I was excited about that. I put it in my grow tent. I use Leca when I get new plants, and I use it to rehab a lot of my plants because it's what I'm comfortable with. Do what's comfortable for you. I did keep it in my grow tent where I had some control over the temperature and the humidity and the amount of light the plant received. And after a month and a half, as you can see here, I have some nice roots growing. I like using the glass vessels so that I can see the roots without disturbing the plant. But the drawback of that is you will get algae growth. So the green that you see in here is algae growth. It's not hurting the plant any, but after a month and a half, things are looking pretty promising. I have a little sprout here. So I was pretty sure I was on the right path. Now, I'm not sure that I'm going to get any other growth points. It doesn't look like it from what I'm seeing so far. And this plant did not break any growth speed records for me. This is what the plant looked like after 2 months. And it still just has the single leaf, but as you can see, the petiole is longer, the leaf is much larger. The leaf is still that beautiful copper color because it hasn't hardened off yet and turned green. The bark of this plant, I'm not seeing, and yeah, I'm calling it bark because the part that this plant is growing off was so thick. I mean, it is actually a woody bark, the stem of the plant. So I don't see any other growth points from this plant, from the bark, but at least I have the one that looks pretty active and looks like it's going to give me another leaf. So I'm excited about that. I'm sure I'm on the right track now. I've learned that this plant definitely enjoys humidity. It definitely enjoys the warmth. I don't plan to keep it in my grow tent always, but until it has a really nice hardy root system, that's where it'll be. So here we are at the 6-month point with my Anthurium Magnificum. And as you can see, the leaves are that beautiful green, and there is more than one leaf. It has grown amazingly well. I don't have it in the grow tent any longer. I'm not running a humidifier where it is, but it is under a grow light in my plant room. So I want to show you the root system. Now, I've never had anything get root bound that I've grown in Leca. I mean, severely root bound. But this plant, I'm afraid, is severely root bound. It was growing really well, and it has stopped growing. It has a lot of algae in here. There is an odor from it. I can smell the algae. I didn't want to disturb this plant any more than necessary, so I did flush the vessel with water every now and then to try to clean some of it out. But look at this root system. Now that's pretty impressive. So it's time for this to be repotted and taken out of this vessel, because I believe the way the roots are looking, they're pressed against the vessel so hard, I think they're starting to choke themselves off. But as you can see, it's still just that one growth point on the side there. No other growth points, and all of those beautiful roots. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this was one of my first anthuriums. So this is the one that I've learned so much about taking care of anthuriums from. I was concerned as to whether or not I was going to be able to maintain the health of this plant outside of the grow tent. And it actually acclimated to the plant room with no problem. It's that room stays about 79 degrees, between 75 and 79, and it's naturally about 60% humidity. So I'm not running a humidifier or anything like that. And I do keep it under a grow light for, I think that one is on for 5 hours a day. I couldn't find a lot of information on caring for the plants without, in terms of, can I keep it outside of humidity, of grow tent, and do I have to have a humidifier and things like that. So I wanted to make sure that I mentioned that. But now what I'm going to do is take this out of this vessel. As you can see here, the algae growing, it's a better look at the roots and all of that. You know your plant is root bound when the roots grow down and then start growing up out of the vessel. And that is what's happening here. So it's time for me to put this plant in a pot. I'm going to use a self-watering pot. I'm going to continue to grow this plant in Leca. I do have a video on that if you want to learn how I grow my plants in Leca. It's happy in Leca. It's getting the water when it needs it. I won't have to alter my water schedule or anything like that. And that's why I'm going to keep it in the self-watering pot. So let me get this plant transferred. This plant was definitely root bound. As you can see, it's still holding the shape of the vessel, and some of the hydrogen pellets are stuck to the roots. So I'm going to clean it up some. I am going to wash down the plant, the roots, all of it. I got the hydrogen pellets off of the roots. And this is what it's looking like. I can't untangle the roots because they're like so stuck together. But as you can see, there's some down here that are darker. Those are roots that started rotting because they were being choked off. So it was definitely time to repot this plant. And after 8 months of hard work with this plant, here is my beautiful Anthurium Magnificum. Now it still only has the 3 leaves, and one of them, as you can see, is in a little rough shape. So I'm leaving it for now because it helps with photosynthesis. But that one I know I will eventually lose. And you see that some of the roots are above the leca pellets, and that is because it maintained the shape of the vessel no matter what I did. But so far it doesn't look like there's any problem. Now its growth has been stunted. Anytime you mess with the roots a lot, disturb the roots of a plant, you should expect that the growth will slow some. But it seems to be very happy in this self-watering pot and is doing well. Thank you so much for joining me. Take care, stay well, and I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.